Welcome to Fame-Avora. Mama's Family was the kind of show that felt like stepping onto a neighbor's porch uninvited and being handed a plate of food anyway. It ran on sharp wit, small-town chaos, and a household where every argument was secretly a love letter written in the wrong language. But the years have moved quietly since those Raytown evenings. Some of the people who built that world lived full, extraordinary lives. Others left before we were ready to say goodbye. Tonight, we gather those memories with reverence, revisiting the faces that made a fictional town feel like somewhere we all grew up, and honoring the performances that are still very much alive. Vinton Harper moved through life with his heart leading and his instincts trailing somewhere behind. Good-natured, well-meaning, and forever a half-step behind the conversation, he was the character audiences never stopped rooting for. Ken Barry, born November 3, 1933, was 50 when he brought Vint to life, drawing on a career built across stage, screen, and musical performance to create a man whose decency was his defining feature. His performance mattered because Vint served as the show's emotional ballast. In a household that ran on noise and stubbornness, someone had to absorb the friction without breaking, and Barry did it without ever playing the fool cruelly. There was genuine dignity inside Vint's stumbling, a sincerity that made every misstep feel human rather than cheap. Barry balanced innocence and comedy without sacrificing either. He passed away on December 1, 2018, at 85 from natural causes. In reruns, Vint remains the show's quiet foundation, not the sharpest voice at the table, but perhaps the most irreplaceable one. Ellen Harper. Jackson walked into every scene already winning, polished, self-possessed, and armed with a tongue sharp enough to cut glass. She could dismantle Mama's defenses in a single, perfectly aimed sentence. Betty White, born January 17, 1922, was 61 when she played Ellen in 1983, bringing a lifetime of comedic mastery to a character built on class friction, family rivalry, and immaculately timed irritation. White's performance mattered because she refused to let Ellen be merely a foil. She layered in pride, vanity, buried insecurity, and that particular ache that forms inside families where love and resentment share the same root. Her clashes with Mama landed because they felt familiar, two formidable women speaking different emotional languages, neither willing to translate. White played every beat with precision, never overwrought, never too soft, always exactly in command. Betty White passed away on December 31, 2021, at 99. Watching her now carries a bittersweet weight. The woman who made generations laugh departed just before reaching 100. But her timing, her warmth, and her fearless craft remain permanently etched into television history. Aunt Fran Crowley entered the Harper household like a perfectly calibrated blade, elegant, opinionated, and capable of puncturing any pretension with a single well-placed glance. Rue McClanahan, born February 21, 1934, was 49 when she played Fran in 1983, bringing a crisp, comedic precision that made every line feel purposefully aimed. Her performance mattered because Fran was never just a visiting character. She was structural. In a house defined by Mama's stubbornness, the comedy needed something equally immovable to push against, and Fran provided exactly that counterweight. McClanahan made the clash between them feel like genuine family friction, the kind that stings briefly before becoming the story everyone retells at reunions. When Fran's arc ended suddenly, the loss registered less like a plot development and more like a familiar chair disappearing from the dining room. McClanahan's larger television legacy is beyond dispute, built on intelligence, charisma, and fearless delivery. She passed away on June 3, 2010, at 76 from a brain hemorrhage. Revisiting her performance now, Fran's sharpness feels even more valuable, the work of someone who understood comedy as a discipline, not a reflex. Alistair Quincy arrived as if Masterpiece Theater had taken a wrong turn into Raytown and decided to make itself at home. Highbrow ceremony framing lowbrow chaos, and somehow it worked beautifully. Harvey Korman, born February 15, 1927, was 56 when he played Quincy in 1983, and his style was unmistakable. Theatrical elegance carried with a comedian's knowing wink. His performance mattered because it gave the series a distinctive flavor from the very beginning. Quincy's polished formality made the Harper household look even more wonderfully unruly by comparison, and Korman turned each introduction into a miniature performance, a reminder that sitcom comedy could be smart, stylized, and genuinely playful all at once. Even in limited appearances, he announced the kind of show this would be. His legacy was already firmly secured through landmark sketch comedy and decades of beloved screen work. Korman passed away on May 29, 2008, at 81 from complications following a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm. Watching him now, Alistair feels like a velvet bow tied elegantly over pure chaos, a master's flourish at the opening of something wonderful. Alberta Meacham arrived like official correspondence, precise, professional, and entirely uninterested in the Harper household's tendency toward creative chaos. Anne Haney, born March 4, 1934, was 52 when she played the social worker in 1986, delivering a performance of controlled restraint that was quietly hilarious, precisely because nothing rattled her. Her performance mattered because she represented the outside world meeting Raytown head-on. Characters like Alberta are essential in sitcom architecture. The more unflappable the visitor, the funnier the family becomes in their presence. Haney understood this dynamic completely and played Alberta straight-faced and grounded, letting Mama's bluster bounce off her steady authority without a ripple. Even with minimal screen time, she made an impression that lingered. Proof that the show worked best when absurdity had something real to collide with. Haney built a respected career across film and television, frequently portraying women of quiet strength and integrity. She passed away on May 26, 2001, at 67 from heart failure. Watching her now, Alberta reads like a small masterclass in supporting performance. Firm, precise, and completely unforgettable in just a handful of scenes. Billy Field appears as a romantic possibility. Eccentric charm arriving at Mama's door and meeting her stubborn realism with a warmth that neither confirms nor demands anything. Barney Martin, born March 3, 1923, was 65 when he played Billy in 1988, and he brought a gentle sincerity that transformed the episode into a small, self-contained story about the possibility of connection in later life. His performance mattered because Mama's family was never only about domestic friction. It was also about the quieter human need to be seen. Billy offered Mama a moment outside her established roles, beyond mother, widow, fighter, and gave her a glimpse of simply being a woman again. Martin handled that shift delicately, playing it with lightness rather than sentiment, so the comedy could coexist with the feeling. His style was unobtrusive. He didn't arrive to overpower the show's world, but to slip naturally into it, and that restraint is why the episode stayed with audiences. Martin had a long career across television and film. He passed away on March 21, 2005, at 82 from bladder cancer. His episode still carries a gentle warmth, proof that romance can find a place in a sitcom without tipping into melodrama. Gert Corey enters with a gleam in her eye and mischief already loaded. An old friend who can spark both laughter and trouble without breaking a sweat. Imogen Coca, born November 18, 1908, was 75 when she appeared in 1984, carrying with her the unmistakable glow of television's earliest pioneers. Her face alone could carry a joke, and her timing could elevate a simple line into something genuinely triumphant. Her performance mattered because she brought history into the room. Coca represented a tradition of comedy that was physical, expressive, and surgically precise. Yet she fit Raytown's world without the slightest seam showing. Gert's presence expanded Mama's story beyond the Harper house, gesturing toward a life of friendships, shared memories, and the kind of bond that only time can build. Coca played her with playful confidence, a woman who has encountered every variety of trouble and still chooses laughter as her first response. Her legacy spans decades of pioneering television work that helped define the medium. She passed away on June 2, 2001, at 92 from natural causes. Her episode still feels like a master visit, a legend arriving at the show and leaving behind that unmistakable signature, joy delivered with craft. High Dame Pearson is formality worn as a costume, aristocratic bearing played with such earnest precision that it becomes its own punchline without ever acknowledging the joke. Natalie Corr, born February 21, 1919, was 70 when she played the role in the mid-1980s, bringing a dignified, unblinking commitment that made the satire genuinely sharp. Her performance mattered because she embodied the show's enjoyment of class contrast. Mama's World celebrated blunt, grounded honesty, and characters like High Dame Pearson exist specifically so Mama can puncture pretension with one perfectly timed remark. Corr played her completely straight, which is precisely what made it work. The more sincerely High Dame clings to her sense of status, the funnier Mama becomes in every response. It is a classic comedic structure executed with professional exactness. Corr built an extensive career across beloved television programs, frequently inhabiting refined characters with a wry comedic undercurrent. She passed away on October 14, 2011, at 92 from complications related to cancer. Her High Dame endures as a useful reminder. Nothing makes a sitcom heroine look better than a guest character who takes herself far, far too seriously. Big Joan McCall enters like a force of nature that has decided Raytown is its next destination. Tough, bold, and engineered to collide directly with Mama's own iron certainty. Kathleen Freeman, born February 17, 1923, was 64 when she played Big Joan, delivering the role with the kind of fearless comedic aggression that only a seasoned character actress truly commands. Her performance mattered because she understood how comedic conflict is built. Big Joan is not designed for nuance, she is designed to clash. And when two immovable forces meet, the humor becomes physical. Posture, voice, timing, the absolute refusal of either party to yield an inch. Freeman's decades of experience show in every moment how she pressures the scene without destabilizing it, how she keeps the character enormous but still plausible within the show's comedic register. Her filmography spans well over 100 credits, making her one of the most reliable comic presences in American entertainment. Freeman passed away on August 23, 2001, at 78 from lung cancer. Watching her now, you can feel the full weight of classic American character comedy, built by working actors who knew precisely how to make a room erupt. Even a brief appearance can bring genuine warmth when the performer fills it with intent. Barbara Stewart, born January 3, 1930, was 53 when she played the nurse in 1983, bringing a light comedic touch that complemented the show's steady blend of domestic chaos and small-town institutions. Her performance mattered because Mama's World regularly extended beyond the house, into churches, hospitals, and civic spaces where the Harpers had to interact with the wider community. The nurse belongs to that world, a professional presence reacting to the Harper energy with the kind of practiced patience you develop from years of small-town service. Stewart played it with friendly wit, making the scene feel inhabited rather than staged. That quality of lived-in believability is something only a true professional delivers in a handful of lines. Stewart built a long career spanning stage and screen. She passed away on May 15, 2011, at 81 from complications related to dementia. Looking back at her small moment now, it reads as a quiet reminder. Classic sitcoms were held together by dozens of skilled professionals who made the world credible even when the camera only stayed a moment. When Richard Dawson appears as himself, the episode briefly opens a window into a different kind of nostalgia. Celebrity culture stepping into the small-town sitcom universe with a familiar grin and a sense that it belongs exactly there. Dawson, born November 20th, 1932, was 51 when he made the cameo, carrying the easy, playful confidence audiences already associated with him through Family Feud and a long television career. His performance mattered because a cameo only succeeds when the celebrity reads the room correctly, arriving to amplify the fun rather than redirect it toward themselves. Dawson understood that instinctively. His relaxed charm became part of the joke, the contrast between his celebrity ease and Raytown's grounded oddness giving the scene a quality that felt like a small television event tucked inside a regular episode. It also gestures toward how 1980s sitcoms existed within a larger shared culture, characters, viewers, and the broader television landscape, all inhabiting the same cultural moment simultaneously. He passed away on June 2nd, 2012, at 79 from complications related to esophageal cancer. His cameo endures as a charming time capsule, proof that television history tends to appear in the most unexpected places. Alvin Thompson arrived with gentle sweetness, an older man whose forgetfulness and warmth introduced something tender into Raytown's comedic fabric. Jack Gilford, born July 25th, 1908, was in his mid-70s when he played Alvin, and his presence carried the unmistakable gravity of a lifetime spent in entertainment. Vaudeville roots, stage work, and a career built entirely on humanity. His performance mattered because it brought compassion into the room. Mama's World could be sharp and self-protective, but characters like Alvin reminded the audience that aging is woven into family life too, sometimes funny, sometimes piercing, always real. Gilford played Alvin with quiet dignity, allowing vulnerability to be present without converting it into mockery. That restraint is what lifts the performance, a sitcom briefly pausing to make space for something more delicate than a punchline. It makes the show feel wiser for a moment, as though the laughter briefly agreed to share the room with something gentler. Gilford passed away on June 4th, 1990, at 81 from stomach cancer. Rewatching his scenes feels like handling something fragile, warm, faintly faded, and quietly moving. Because beneath the jokes is the simple truth that time finds everyone. If this tribute carried you back to Raytown for a while, please like, subscribe, and return to us here at Famivora. Until then, good night, and thank you for remembering with us.